and be able to articulate it. Okay, so the FSBO thank you notes. We shared with you, write a thank you note after each visit that you get face-to-face with them on. And here's the content. You're like, well, I don't know what to say. Well, here we go. Buddy, we're making this too easy, aren't we?
Well, I think I could make you do
this. Yeah. I mean, you get the card and the pen and just copy, okay? That's how easy that is. So there's, and by the way, when they want to sell on their own, okay, or when they do, if they're in the 10%, the magic minority, and they do, write them a congratulatory note. Okay, here's your note after the first visit, note after second visit, third visit, fourth visit. It's all there, what you need to say. Now, page 24, key page. And again, it's kind of like the financial consequences page. Every time we teach you a new prospecting or marketing source, we're going to talk about accountability. And that's because human beings cannot maintain focus over time without accountability. You're going to have somebody in your life, in your family, in your business circle, or in this office that you're accountable to on a weekly basis. Otherwise, you'll jump into a new source like this and say, $150,000 just working FSBOs, I'm going to do that. And it'll be real exciting for about 2 days, okay? Maybe 2 weeks if you're exceptional. But then distractions are going to creep in, and we're masters of justifying our distractions, masters of justifying our inefficiencies. So we need somebody who on a weekly basis is going to review our numbers with us and say, okay here, Thomas, you said that on Monday you were going to attempt to enter into a relationship with one FSBO. Did you do that? Okay. On Wednesday, you said you were going to reach out to one. Did you do that? You said Saturday was your big day. You were going to knock on 4 doors. Did you do that? That's all accountability is, okay? It's not judgment. It's nobody beating you up. Nobody whipping you. It's simply saying, you said you wanted to do this. Did you do it? Okay? If not, why not? And what do you want to commit to for the upcoming week? Okay? So when we talk about progression, going from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, moving from just consistency to efficiency to proficiency, where you're implementing the strategy at a high level, this is an integral piece. Where you track your numbers, and because you have your raw numbers, you can track your conversion rates. So you're not just selling 50%, but selling 75%, and ultimately 95%. You're not just setting appointments with 15%, but ultimately 25%, and then moving on to 33%, okay? So you have to track your numbers if you're committed to progression in any new prospecting or marketing source, okay? So let's pause for just a moment here, because I have a couple things more I want to share with you, but before we get into that, I want to say, what questions do you have, or what ahas have you had about what we've talked about so far? So let me ask you about the strategy. Is this strategy something that you could implement? Could you do this? It is very non-threatening, isn't it? You're just helping people. Okay?
How do you get them at home?
Yeah, good one. Okay. So when are people typically at home?
Late.
Yeah, late. Typically evenings and Saturdays, evenings and weekends is typical for most. Even then, it's hard to catch people, and that's why this is a 5-step follow-up method, not a one-off method. Okay, so they may not be home the first time, the second time, but when they're home the third time you show up, they already know who you are, right? Because you've left them 2 different packets of information and placed 2 phone calls to them, and even if they went to voicemail, that's 4 contacts by the time you get them face-to-face. Okay, so don't be too put off if they don't answer the door. Just hang in there. Okay? Comments, questions, ahas?
I have one thing I can
Yeah.
like to the new person that I did for sell by owners when I first started, and you have no business, and it's easy, and then
Right.
they tell you if you do 100 calls, you're good to get a listing. So I'm like at 98, and I just had this one-liner, and I was leaving it on the answer machines. Anything that picked up, I would
Right.
sell it. And so my first listing appointment was $1 million listing on the water. I called my manager, who was also my sister. I'm like, I got an appointment. I'm all excited. Now what do I do? She goes, where is it? I tell her. She goes, I'm going to kill you. We can't just. I'm like, well, I got to go now. I told him I got.
And this was a FSBO?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
But that's
I'm
but
not kidding you. But I got in the door, but he said
Yes.
because I kept. It was that I left him a few messages.
the persistence.
And he was home that day and said, come on over.
That's right, when the time was right. Okay, so
It just happened.
I want to share two things with you. First of all, is a little document I created just for this class called a FSBO tracking sheet. And I'm going to encourage you to make copies of this. In fact, if you want to give me a business card, oh, I'm going to run out before I get to you, Virginia. I'll make some more when I get to your office, and I'll leave one on your desk today, okay? I'm going to encourage you to use that tracking sheet for each FSBO that you begin approaching. And so that you track, you know, the address, the seller name, phone number, any other contact info, the source of the lead. Okay, was it a drive-by in my home area? Was it a land voice? Was it FSBO.com? Was it Craigslist? Where did I get that lead? Okay, and an incentive provided if applicable. Was it the trash man and I gave him a $25 Applebee's card? Whatever that was. Okay. Okay, then on each visit, record the day, date, time that you went by. And by the way, Virginia, over time, you'll see a pattern here of when you find them home and when you don't. Okay, so track that. Day, date, time, and then what happened. I left a note, had a nice conversation, didn't get in the door, but left it open for me to come back again next week. Okay, or I got in, took measurements, building the relationship. Whatever happened, track that. Okay? Now, I'm going to encourage you, attach to that any information. I mentioned to you I walk through my neighborhood 3 or 4 times a week early in the morning. So I'm walking last Friday morning. Guess what I see in my neighborhood? FSBO right there. So like every good neighbor, I rated the info box. I got one, right? And then on Saturday morning when I'm going to Walmart with my family, realtors' families are always tormented, right? It just goes with the territory. So I make them stay in the car and I walk up to the door, knock on it, I leave the seller's disclosure, a note, a business card, the whole deal, okay? And that's what this says right here. Left note, card, seller's disclosure. Okay, then I went to Harris County Appraisal District, got some additional information on the home, the history, appraised value. By the way, the owner's name is slightly different from the name on the property flyer, okay? So I don't know if it's a middle name or if it's an absentee owner and a family member selling, I don't know. But all those, it raises points of conversation, okay? Are you the seller of the home? Is another person involved in this decision? So what you do with this, and this is, I hope if you decide to pursue this source, you'll do something like this because it's going to simplify your life dramatically. But what you do is you keep these tracking sheets in a folder or some organized manner in your vehicle. Because again, the primary mode of contact that we're teaching for finding FSBOs is your home base, driving. So when you drive past, you don't want to be like, oh, there's a FSBO, I got to remember to come back. No, that's inefficient. Unless it's the middle of the night or 5:30 in the morning, like when I found my FSBO, okay, you want to be able to go see them right then. And so I'm going to recommend you keep these in a file in your car as part of your FSBO kit. And in your kit, you want to put the items that we identified on the no, do, have that you need to have. So you'll see in mine, I've got my clipboard, right here. And on it, I have my inventory sheet. So I'm ready to go. Ready to knock on the door, I'll have this in hand. If I get in the door, I'll hand it to the seller and ask them to take notes as we walk around and take measurements, okay? I also have my handy dandy manual tape measure and my little laser tape, okay? It's all in here, all in one place. I also have, my first file is my tracking sheets that I just mentioned. I've got blanks plus the ones that are filled out. Item of value number 1, item of value 2, item of value 3, item of value 4. So now I'm going to go to the HAR and TAR websites. Trek and TAR. Yeah, and well, I'm going to find 4 really good ones, and I'm going to stock these and have 4 or 5 in each folder. Okay. So now I have no excuse, right? I mean, there's bullets in my gun. I'm ready. So when I drive by, if I see a FSBO, and it's appropriate time of day, go right to the curb. If they're not home, I've got everything I need right here to make an effective contact. Okay? So if you, the whole key to success in lead generation is having a system. Otherwise, you're just going to do something sporadically, and you're going to be reinventing the wheel every time you do it. And first of all, it's going to suck up a lot of time, and it's going to be frustrating to you. Because even when you have a success and it works, the next time you're going to be thinking, oh, what did I do? Okay? Why did it work that time and not the time before? But if you have a system that makes it really simple to act in the moment, and then you track your results, over time you'll know exactly what works at a high level and what works at a very low level. High level is proficiency. High level is 150,000 from this source. And if you commit to a source, that's where you want to go in terms of income, okay? Is the highest level, the maximum potential for the source, okay? Could you do something like this? Is this beyond your capability to put together a kit like this? Somebody say, I could do that. I could do it. Okay? So if you commit to this source, I would encourage you. I bet I used an old manual tape measure I already had in the garage. I paid 20 bucks for the laser and probably 20 bucks for the whole rest of the whole kit. Okay? So less than $50 and I'm ready to rock and roll in this source. Okay? And I want to repeat the offer I made to you earlier. If you want to do this and you want to commit to it for a couple weeks, let me know. I'll give you my LandVoice account to get you started. And then if you decide to stick with it, then you'll need to get your own. Okay? All right. Any last opportunity for questions, rebuttals, objections, or ahas? Okay?
If I was one of these people 10 years ago,
Yes.
is that something that would be of value to share with them, or would I be devaluing myself now as...
What was your experience as a FSBO? You did.
What I had done was, in my mind, I was 4 houses down from an elementary school, so I knew I had traffic, and I just kind of told myself, if it doesn't sell by the time school's out, I'll talk to a realtor.
Yes.
If it does, I've not lost any.
Yes.
And I got lucky.
Yes. I wouldn't share that story.
Okay. Because on the one hand, you want to form a relationship.
Yes.
But then...
Have you ever sold a home with a realtor?
Get the right price. Maybe you shortchanged yourself.
Or time.
That you could bring into the conversation on how you lost money because you did it yourself and you
It's-
didn't find out till later.
It's kind of Clint Eastwood, you know? Okay, was it 4 shots or 5? Do you feel lucky? Okay, because FSBOs occasionally get lucky. Okay, but let's pause just for a minute. There's a reason that only a small minority, 10%, get lucky. And that's because FSBOs violate both fundamental principles of getting a home sold. Those two fundamental issues, the primary contributing factors on the sale of a home are what? Exposure is one. What's the other? Price. Price and exposure, that's it. Okay, so exposure, they're locked out from already 95% of the buyers in the market who are realtor represented. Realtors are not looking for properties on FSBO.com. They're not scanning Craigslist ads, okay? Where do realtors find properties to show? On the MLS, and the FSBO is not on the MLS, okay? So they're violating exposure right there. The other key contributor, price. Are they priced properly? Somebody say no. No. No, not usually. Okay, first of all, keep in mind, they don't have access to the pricing tools to actually know trends and absorption rates. So they're just kind of taking a stab at it. They're guessing, okay? So that right there stacks the deck against them. But what's the other issue that's not in their favor in regard to pricing? They're money motivated, okay? And they typically have a driving monetary issue that has determined their asking price for the home. It's not market value. That's not how they priced it. They priced it according to their needs. We need $50,000 out of this house. We're upside down, okay? So we've at least got to get X dollars out of this house. So they're violating fundamental pricing principles, and fundamental exposure principles, and that's why only 10% will successfully sell by themselves. So you have to have that belief, that mentality, that when you knock on the door of a FSBO, you are saving them a ton of grief, frustration, and potential financial loss, okay? They need us. They need professional representation.
I'm just curious, like in your case, you made a decision that you were going to sell your own home, right? And it sounds like you kind of had a plan. I don't get it done between this time and this time, to speak with a realtor. So, thinking about what you've heard this morning, if somebody approached you when you first put your home on the market for sale by owner, with this process, would you have been, you wouldn't have felt like, please get out of my life, leave me alone, if this approach was used?
Right.
Probably.
Right.
That would have been the person who would have gotten your listing.
Yeah.
Had you not gotten lucky, yes. Yes.
Because if you felt okay with, because I think it's important, like I've never sold my own home. But you have, and your mindset was, why did I do that? You were motivated in some manner. So now looking at this program, it's like, would you have been okay if somebody came by, one of us, and approached you with this deal? I don't think you would have been mad. You would have said,
Right.
get out of my place and all that.
Yeah.
It's all in the approach
Yes.
and what your plan is.
Yeah, I think at this point, we should all be able to implement this strategy with confidence, knowing that it's non-threatening and it can do nothing but help a potential seller, whether they work with us or not. You're going to help them and save them a lot of trouble. So.
And they usually like you coming over. They want to pick your brain. They want to
Yeah.
have a buyer to bring them.
I went FSBO one time in my life, long before I was with RE/MAX, because I was going to be one of these smart ones and pocket the money myself. And I was in a financial bind. I had overpaid for the house, and so I didn't feel like I could pay a realtor commission. I ultimately listed with a realtor and sold the house. But in between those times, my wife and I were excited every time a realtor rang our doorbell, okay? We thought maybe they've got a buyer, and if not, maybe, or maybe they're going to help us. And frankly, the realtors who knocked on our door, and this was over 20 years ago, followed a system just like this, because every one of them, and I remember 2 RE/MAX realtors, they were young ladies, they were partners, they both wore hats, it was kind of their deal, and they came to our house several times. Every time we were thrilled to see them, we welcomed them in, and if we had gone on the open market to list, we would have listed with them. In fact, we put our home in property management initially, and then ultimately the property manager brought us a buyer, okay? But those 2 RE/MAX agents would have gotten the listing because they followed an approach just like this. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you all very much. As you implement this, if you have any questions or want to talk through it, I'm always available to you. Okay?
One last thing, I'll make this offer to you guys, and I've done this in each class I've been able to come to.